Okay, quick video. I just got done watching my DVD of Darkest Hour. Yeah, and I waited after the football game, then I watched it. I saw the movie in theaters. I've seen it several times since. Darkest Hour is about Winston Churchill in the Second World War, how he's preparing for the inevitable. It shows the beginning phase of World War II. Very, very good movie. You should watch it. Now, Winston Churchill was one of the most disgusting men in history. Okay, this is a man who was a full-blown alcoholic. In fact, there are some whiskey reviewers on YouTube who did an episode where they mimic Winston Churchill's daily alcohol intake, okay, and daily cigar intake, and the food that he ate, okay. He was a full-blown alcoholic who chain smoked cigars. He smoked about 10 cigars a day. Keep in mind, it takes about 45 minutes to smoke a cigar, so when is he not smoking? Okay, he was responsible for, he actually supported the previous king's marriage to Wallis Simpson, and the previous king ended up becoming a Nazi. Elizabeth's uncle, okay? He was responsible for overseeing India, and the British military in India was not very nice to the Indian people. Hence the rise of Gandhi, who was himself an asshole. Okay, Gandhi had his own problems. Look it up, he did. There was an incident where there was a famine going on in India, and Churchill didn't send supplies there. And a lot of people may say, well, he had the budget's much thin, World War II was going on. Well, the Americans did agree to send help to India in his name, and he said, no, that's okay, that's fine, not necessary. Years later, his journal revealed that in an era before the internet, he actually researched a slur racial term for the Indians and called them by that racial term. Okay, the Indian famine killed 1 million people. And Churchill's response were, they did it themselves because they breed like jackrabbits in their whatever racial slur, okay? Churchill believed in eugenics, which meant that only the purest of people should be breeding. Whether you're racially inferior or mentally inferior or physically inferior, you should not be breeding. He believed in that shit. And yet he is regarded as a great hero because he fought against Hitler. Ronald Reagan. Several presidents had their wife die before they took office. And those presidents would have the office of First Lady filled by a daughter, daughter-in-law, niece, sister, or other female relation. This is a long time ago. And several presidents had a wife die and had another wife after they died. More famously, Teddy Roosevelt, whose first wife and mother died the same day, and he took a second wife, and she was First Lady. Ronald Reagan was the first president to be divorced, which meant when he assumed the presidency, he had a living ex-wife. And I've spoken to his son, Michael, many times. No, not recently, because Michael took a break from social media. Now, Jane Wyman, his ex-wife, mother of his two children, his first two children, was often asked for dirt on him. Did he hit you? Did he cheat on you? What was he doing? Because they wanted to know what he was doing behind closed doors. They wanted dirt. And she would often respond, he is my governor. He is the father of my children. And then later on, he is my president. He is the father of my children. Jane Wyman, the ex-wife of the president, voted for and supported her husband politically, her ex-husband. Donald Trump, on his third marriage, 2 divorces, both wives supported him. Both ex-wives, rather. Now, Ronald Reagan never cheated on his wife. But in between marriages, he became a devout womanizer. He was dating women often half his age. He once ended up in bed with a girl who was barely 18. He once ended up in bed and a girl was next to him and he couldn't remember how she got there. When he was governor of California, they wanted to legalize abortion. He did not want to do it. His advisors said the bill was to legalize abortion when it's medically necessary. Now, when you look at it scientifically, an abortion is medically necessary once every 1,000,000 pregnancies. Okay? It's the rarest thing in the world. In fact, the man who President Reagan would appoint to be Surgeon General said he was practicing medicine for 35 years and never once met a woman that needed an abortion to save her life. That's how rare it is. But this abortion bill said abortion is legal when it's medically necessary. And his advisors told him they'll go over your veto and make it worse. He legalized it. Women began finding excuses. I have to have an abortion because I have a headache. I have to have an abortion because I have a stomach ache. I have an abortion because I'm nauseous. Okay? And it led to a mass abortion in California. Years later, he ran for president against a Christian minister who would be married for 77 years until his wife's death. And he was picked over that guy. Okay? Our founding general was a slave owner. Our first federal document and was written by, and 2/3 of the continental United States was purchased by a slave owner who raped his sister-in-law when she was 14. Let me rephrase that. He started raping her at 14. Okay? So, do not look to history as this holier than thou bullshit. President Trump has a very, very, very big mouth. He often says derogatory things about his enemies. Okay? He often ignites controversy. But the thing is, he knew that America needed to harvest its own oil. He knew that America needed a fucking border. Okay? And he knew that enemies did not need appeasement. Now, President Trump was subjected to a kangaroo trial. Then he was subjected to a rigged election. Then he was subjected to another kangaroo trial. Then he was subjected to 4 more kangaroo trials. At least, President Trump is the only American in all of history to be subjected to no less than 6, if not possibly 7, kangaroo trials. Now, after the election was rigged, who replaced? Well, no one replaced President Trump. President Trump is still by today the most recent president. Now, after the rigged election, who did America install? Okay, the last segregationist. Okay, the last segregationist was installed, who was over 80 years old, who suffers from dementia, and who has been seen on camera sexually abusing little girls, whose son is a devout crackhead. Okay? And his right hand is a woman who never accomplished anything in her life, and her first public sector job she got because she sucked a married man's dick. Okay? Now, when you look at terrorists, communists, fascists, dictators, okay, just evil human beings, people that are Hitler-esque, okay, whether they be Putin or the Ayatollahs or whomever is Hitler-esque, whether they be in Europe or the Middle East or wherever Hitler-esque people are found, okay? When they look at an 80-plus-year-old man with dementia who literally doesn't even know how his own fucking name most of the time, and they look at a woman who literally got her first public sector job by sucking a married man's dick. Okay? They are not intimidated by that at all. They are not intimidated by that at all. Also, the United States has spent many years lecturing the world as a whole about election fraud, okay, dictatorship, shit like that. Now, in Iraq, Saddam Hussein was a violent dictator. He did celebrate September 11th, even though we never proved his involvement in it. Okay? But Saddam Hussein was a violent dictator who killed his own people, and he had no term limits in office, and he was elected by a landslide every 7 years. So the term of president in Iraq was 7 years, and President Hussein was always elected by a landslide. Now, how do you get elected by a landslide when you kill your own people? Most people believe that the elections there were rigged. And the United States did invade Iraq, for better or worse, and depose him. Now, you've had people around the world, enemies and friends, who have told us that we no longer have any right lecturing them about election fraud. That was the DVD. It actually went back into the DVD player. Sorry about that. The DVD player went back inside. It was extracted. Anyway. Okay. So, I don't like Trump because he's loud and obnoxious. Okay? Do you hate him so bad that you were willing to sacrifice your child's life? Because we've had over 8 million people invade this country in the past 3 years. Not even 4, but 3 years. Okay? We know for a fact we've caught people on the terror watch list, or we've caught people that are drug kingpins or gangbangers or pimps or just absolute fucking lowlives. Okay? Now, who did we not catch? Okay? There's a 100% guarantee that within the next year or so, there is going to be a terrorist attack in this country. Is it going to be just one guy with a knife that yells Allahu Akbar and stabs 3 guys? Or is it going to be someone that tries to hijack a plane? We don't know. All we know is it's going to happen. Okay? And what if your relative is killed in that terror attack? There are people that support illegal immigration because they, for some reason, think that it's okay for some guy to just come here and get welfare and food stamps and free college and free healthcare and all that bullshit. The problem is, what if he gets drunk and crashes into your car? What if he robs your mother? Okay? What if he rapes your daughter? Okay? You hate President Trump for personal reasons so much that you're willing to just let this fucking country disintegrate. Or let the world, Israel, Europe, disintegrate. That is the truth. That is the truth. Now, Trump is not a saint, okay? And neither was Churchill, neither was Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, not that fucking piece of shit, FDR, but Churchill was not a saint. Washington was not a saint. Jefferson was not a saint. Okay, Reagan was not a saint. Eisenhower was not a saint. Kennedy was not a saint. Okay, I can go on and on forever. Okay, you hate him so much. Okay, you're cutting your nose to spite your face. I hate you so much, I'm willing to let my mother or my daughter or my wife die because I hate you so much. That's what you're saying when you participate in this Trump derangement shit. Okay, we had another terrorist attack today, or yesterday rather, that killed several Americans. Okay? And how many more people are you willing to get killed so that you could express your hate to Trump? Thank you.